Alright, let me out.
I have to
say it 3 times fast.
Papa Panda Podcast.
Papa
Panda Podcast. Papa Panda
Podcast.
Hello, I'm Isa, a student at the Public Academy for Performing Arts. Thanks for joining us at the Papa Panda Podcast, a deep dive into the inner workings of Papa. Today I'm interviewing Larch, a member of Camerata, also known as Advanced Orchestra. She's been kind enough to lend us her time so we can take a deep dive into all things orchestra. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, of course.
So I just wanted to ask you really quick before we get in, what instrument you play, what orchestra is.
So I play cello, and in orchestra we have all the different string instruments, so violin, viola, cello, and we actually have a double bass too, string bass, and it's really cool. We all play different parts, and it sort of comes together to create this big piece of music. The goal is to make it sound like there's just like one of each instrument playing, but it's this really cool like combination of music.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, I mean, obviously you're playing together as like an ensemble, and sometimes you also play solo, right?
Yeah, so there's different solo works, etudes, concertos, sonatas. I'm working on a concerto right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then, of course, I've also played a few concerts solo for like our honor concerts at Papa.
Yeah, which if you didn't see was actually like so amazing. It was like the greatest thing I've ever seen. And so when you are performing like that, how do you feel before you go on stage?
I mean, it really depends. When I'm performing with an ensemble or even just a few other people, I'm actually like pretty calm. I've done so many ensemble performances that after a while I've settled into a rhythm of it. Playing a solo, however, is still like really nerve-wracking for me. I had one concert a few years ago where I just like completely blacked out everything that happened.
Oh,
and I had like no idea what happened on stage, but people clapped at the end, so...
So you must have done pretty good.
Surely.
So you kind of already answered my second question, which is what happens while you're like performing?
Oh yeah, so that sort of blackout thing doesn't happen very often. The word I like to describe it, and this is less so performing and more just playing in general, the word I like to describe it is halcyon, which is like this feeling of peace and calm often amidst like a bunch of other stuff. So like for a concert there can be a lot of managing things up to it and getting on stage and everything, but once I start playing, it just sort of settles into a rhythm. Wow,
that's so cool. See, look at all this vocabulary we learned today. If you didn't know, Larch is also like a genius, so. So I have a really kind of interesting and funny question for you, and I want you just to picture this. They're making a movie about you, about the great cellist Larch. And in the movie, there's gonna be like a theme song, which is a song that you've already played before.
Yeah.
Which song would you want to be your theme song for this movie?
That's a tough one. I think I would have to go with Giulio by Mark Summer. I did play it for the honor concert, I think 2 years ago, and it's this combination of, cello is normally like a classical music instrument, whereas guitar and stuff can play jazz and rock and classical and all these things, but Giulio is more of a contemporary piece. It has some pizzicato techniques, which is like plucking the string, and also includes like slapping the cello for some more percussive sounds, and that's just a really fun piece, and I love like exploring how the cello works in different genres, and that's a really good piece for that.
Yeah, that's so cool. I remember you performing that piece.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to ask, like, when you first started learning cello, I'm assuming a very long time ago, like, how long did it take for you to start getting into all of those techniques?
So I've been playing for about 10 years now. I'd say when I started branching out and actually expanding and becoming more of a musician was around freshman year of high school. I'd been playing for about 7 years at that point. And for the past 2 or 3 years before that, I was practicing about an hour a day, which continued through freshman, and now I practice about 3 hours a day.
Wow. That's so good. So disciplined, you guys. So would you say that's like good advice for anyone who wants to get good in any art form, is practicing as much as you can?
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's, of course, practicing a lot is one thing, but it also has to be like good focused practice.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd say practicing is really crucial, but also like working with other people, doing things with music or dance or whatever you want to do is just as important.
Yeah, so then would you say that it's not so much like the amount of time it takes to get good at an instrument, or more like the quality of what you're doing?
Yeah, the quality of what you're doing. So when I practice, sometimes I'll just play through something and ignore a few mistakes, and then I think, no, I gotta go back. I gotta fix those. So it's just really that is just the focused. I guess it's dedication to it that really matters.
Good. So when you are working in an ensemble, how do you work as like a group with other people when you're playing different things or sometimes very similar things?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's with an orchestra, there's a bunch of people and there's a conductor at the head who makes sure everyone stays in time. Um, Sorry, is the question like how the different sections work together, or how you would like blend with other people doing the same thing?
I guess for now, just like I've never worked in like an ensemble before, so I'm like curious as to like how the different sections work.
Yeah, okay. So there's we typically have a first violin section, seconds, violas and cellos, who are all playing different parts. And those can be harmonies. Those can be different rhythmic stuff to for the melody to come out in. So yeah, if there's in an orchestra, there's like a conductor who brings all of that together and makes sure everyone's on the same time. For like a string quartet, which I also play in a string quartet, rehearsals are more like run by each individual person, and they each have like equal say in what the ensemble should do or how to rehearse.
Oh, interesting. So when you're practicing as camerata, then who's making those decisions?
That would be Mr. Baca, our orchestra director. And of course, there's little things like specific bowings for the section that usually the first chairs, so the people sitting at the front of the section in each of the sections can make decisions on. But mainly, it goes to Mr. Baca.
Oh, interesting. Now, you also kind of mentioned this earlier when you asked, like, is it like how you blend? So I'm interested in this like idea of blending. I didn't know what you meant, but I'm interested in that.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're playing a solo, it's often you have to come out from even when you're playing with like a pianist or an orchestra behind you. You have to sort of come out of that texture. But when you're playing in a section, I mentioned earlier how you want each section to sound like it's just like one big violin or one big viola. So there's a lot that goes into blending and making that sound like one instrument instead of 50 or whatever.
Well then, since we're kind of almost wrapping up on time a little bit, I want to ask you, I'm sure people ask you like this kind of question all the time, but what advice do you want to give to a beginning orchestra student here at Papa?
Beginning orchestra student? I would say just stick with it. It takes a while. I took years in order to play where I am today, and years before it started like being fun. But it's really just stick with it, and it'll be worth it. All the pain, all the hours of practice, it's worth it.
That's so great to hear. I feel like you're going to inspire a lot of people with those words.
Right. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah. I guess, so our last thing, we're kind of like ending our podcast, and so I want to know what happens when you end a show. What's that feeling after you finish performing?
It depends. If I'm really worried about how the show's going to go, often with like a solo, it's just relief, and sometimes I just have to like collapse on my bed and not do anything for weeks. But often it's just this feeling of excitement, and often what I get is I want to do that again.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, that's one part about being a musician, is just the constant going and going, and I think performances beget other performances for me.
Oh, that's so cool. As soon as you finish one, you're ready to take on more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so inspiring. So thank you so much for being here today and talking with us.
Yeah, of course.
If people are interested in orchestra, where can they start besides here at Papa?
So I would recommend looking into getting a private teacher. That would be Robertson's Violin Shop. They have a whole catalog of teachers, and you can rent out an instrument there. And also just looking for things in your community, like the New Mexico School of Music. UNM has some group violin classes just for people starting off. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here with us and talking.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Papa Panda podcast.